guys, it's Jamie with Rock Creek Pharmacy, and this is our second episode of the Diabetes Corner. Last week's episode, we talked about the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Miss Cindy Shelton, one of our students, went over that. It's just me today, so I'm going to be going into the second episode. If you would like to see the first episode, of course you'll be seeing this one as well, on our YouTube channel and Facebook is where we're uploading these videos. So check us out. All right, so let's talk about, we talked about the difference last week between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Let's talk about type 2. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of people have trouble understanding why and how they end up with diabetes, and if they're type 2, have a type 2 diagnosis. And they oftentimes wonder how this happens in the body. So I have a really good little diagram. Let me move this over so you can see it, of how it does happen in the body. So we're going to talk about that. So this analogy actually comes from a book that I read called The Diabetes Code from Dr. Jason Fung. So I highly recommend that book. I love it. I think it's great. And this is where I got this from. So we're talking type 2 diabetes, right? This is not type 1. Type 1 is a whole different animal. But if you have type 2 diabetes, this is essentially what's going on in your body. So let's just say that you live in a little town called Diabetesville, right? And so these are your little houses, which in turn are like cells. There's cells in the body is what really they are. And I've got that up here. The cells are here. But let's just say that's where you were living. And over the course of, let's say it's my body that you're living in. That sounds kind of scary, but let's just say that's what it is. And so when I'm in my 20s and fairly young, everything's going good. Every day there's going to be a delivery. Here's your little delivery driver called insulin. And remember last week we talked about insulin. So insulin is like a key. It's like a driver that drives that sugar, that food into the cell. So insulin delivers a package, which is right here. Let me get my little red marker, of sugar, which is food, nutrition, right, to your cells every day. So here it comes. Like insulin is driving it into, and that's normal. I'm in my 20s, still eating pizza, nachos, and all the bad stuff. But hey, no problem. Everything goes in. I get my delivery and all as well. But let's go at 20 years in the future. Let's say 20 years later, I'm at 46. True story. And all this is a true story. I was gestational diabetic with my son. That is a risk factor. I'm a female. I'm over the age of 45, risk factor. And I have diabetes in my family, which is also a risk factor. So all of a sudden, some things have changed, and I'm still eating the pizza, the nachos, lots of bread, pastas, things like that. Very few vegetables, very few protein, right? Well, all of these little sugar packets, if you want to call them that, the little sugar bubbles, are really multiplying, because this is taking a long time for this to happen, but it's stacked up. So insulin, our friend insulin, is kind of getting stressed out. Like over Christmas when there's a lot of packages, you see a lot of delivery drivers having to, deliver things in the middle of the night and whatnot. So you see him begin to work overtime. And he's now delivering more packages to your door. More and more and more to your door. And you guys, in a normal situation, I would love to see that. But these guys are not necessarily happy about that because it's making them sick. Remember, this is all sugar. And too much of anything is a bad thing, right? So over the course of time, these guys are not happy about it. And so what are they going to do? They are going to lock their door. They do not want this stuff anymore, right? They are going to fight back. And that is called, this is one of our top 3, or the three actual symptoms of type 2 diabetes. Number one is insulin resistance. You have plenty of insulin if you're a type 2, more than likely, but your body is not taking it in, okay? So there you go. Doors are locked. So now what else is happening? This guy, this insulin guy right here, is going to get really frustrated, and he is going to call in more insulins. So now you've got multiple delivery drivers. My trucks are horrible. I apologize. But there they are, and they're stacking up, and their job is to try to get all this pushed in, but this is also happening. So what you have here is, in a sense, called hyperinsulinemia. Okay? Hyperinsulinemia, a big long word that means I have a lot of insulin. Why is that necessarily a bad thing? Well, whenever you have a lot of insulin, you're going to store fat. Okay? Just FYI, you will store fat if you have a lot of insulin. So, a lot of type 2 diabetics can't lose weight, and they can't figure that out. Why can I not lose weight? Well, my insulin's sky high. And then, of course, number 3, the big no-brainer, is now that all of this is blocked off, guess what you have in the bloodstream? Blood sugar, right? So all this is dancing out here. It's not able to get in, and that leads to high blood sugar. So what do you do about that? Well, there's many things you can do about that. And next week, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the different things you can do, because this whole thing that's happening, we literally can stop it. Like, we know that there are things that we can do that don't necessarily have to be taking a pill, which it can be, but there are things you can do that will actually reverse this. And that's what we want to do. We want to reverse this. We want that to stop, because once that is reversed, your body works correctly. You can take in the blood sugar, and your blood sugar gets lowered, your insulin levels normalize, and you're no longer in insulin resistance. So come back next week, and we will discuss the first of those many things that you can do. And for those of you that know my classes, you know what it's going to be: healthy eating. So we're going to talk about that next week. Stay healthy. Take care of yourselves, and I can't wait to see you again next week. And subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are a YouTube user. Thanks.